This update matters because Curiosity is not just roaming inside the boxwork anymore. It is moving to the edges, where contacts between rock units can tell the team how this terrain formed in what came before or after it. That is a better moment for interpretation than another isolated rock target in the middle of the unit. There is also one immediate hook. The rover is checking a dark flow rock called Thola that could be native Martian material or a stony meteorite. That is a narrow question, but it matters because it changes how you read the local surface. If Thola is from elsewhere, it is not evidence for the bedrock here. If it is local, it may add to the geologic story at the border. So the plan is really about two things at once, mapping a boundary and filtering signal from noise. Before this new push south, Curiosity worked a site on the eastern extent of the boxwork unit where the bedrock was suitable for close contact science. The team brushed and examined a bedrock target named in fear Nilo using APXS and MHLI. Then used ChemCam for a LIBS chemical measurement on that same target. They also sampled a nodular-rich bedrock piece called Humahuke. On top of that, MAHLI imaged a pitted vertical rock face named Tim Boychago. The remote imaging campaign was just as important. Masked cam color mosaics and ChemCam RMA mosaics were used to characterize nearby terrain, including a butte to the south and the contact between the boxwork terrain and an adjacent layer. Light tone unit. In plain terms, this was the team building context before moving. They were not only asking what a few rocks are made of, they were also asking how this whole border is organized. The most specific tension in this plan is Thola, a dark-toned flow truck in the new workspace. It was large enough for APXS, close-up MAHLI imaging, and a ChemCam measurement focused on reflectance properties. The reason is careful and interesting. Similar dark flow trucks seen over the past year have been hypothesized as possible stony meteorites, or chandras. So this is not a random Curiosity stop. The team is trying to sort a loose rock into the right bucket, local Martian fragment or visitor from beyond Mars. That distinction matters because flow trucks can mislead if you treat them as part of the bedrock story when they are not. The source blog does not claim a result yet. It only says these measurements will allow the team to determine which origin is more likely. That makes this a real science checkpoint, not a reveal. The broader science goal is the eastern contact of the boxwork unit, where Curiosity is comparing the Spitterbear-like terrain to adjacent light-toned layered bedrock. ChemCam remote chemistry targeted smooth bedrock called Vale fertile and nodular bedrock called Nordgran. Masked mosaics were planned across the eastern contact to assess sedimentary structures and determine stratigraphic relationships. That phrase can sound abstract, but the point is simple. The team wants to know how these units stack, connect, or cut across one another. That is how you move from surface texture to geologic history. The plan also included observations of smaller troughs in the regolith, nearby ridges, and a two-frame mosaic of the law with another dark-toned pebble. So even the image set is doing double duty. It captures the local oddities, but it also ties them back to the larger boundary architecture that may explain the final stage of boxwork exploration. The operational change is straightforward. A midweek, Doctor moved Curiosity closer to the eastern edge of the boxwork unit, and the new plan ends with another drive toward the southern border. That southern contact is about 100 meters away, so an ASA says it will likely take 2 drives. In channel terms, the signal is that Curiosity is transitioning from point measurements to edge mapping at the end of this campaign phase. The noise is anything that treats every target as equally important. Infernillo, Humahuke, Vale Fertile, Nort Grand, and Timboy Chaco all matter, but mostly as parts of a boundary reading workflow. Though lost ends out because it could change the interpretation of one visible rock. The rest of the plan is more about positioning and context. So what changed is not a discovery claim. It is the rover entering the right place, with the right instruments, to separate local geology from misleading debris as it closes out the boxwork story.